Okay, so let's start our discussion, measurement. Okay, so chapter 1 na tayo. Okay, so what is measurement, no? Bakit ito yung first topic sa chemistry? Because number one, chemistry is heavily reliant on measurement. Okay, so in order for you to do chemistry calculations, you should be able to do measurements, no? So ano ba yung mga mini-measure natin sa buhay, no? So we sometimes measure the length of objects, no? Minsan temperature, especially during the pandemic time, pag may sakit ka, measure mo agad temperature mo. Then volume, okay? Gamit ka lang ng mga containers with graduations or markings, no? You can measure the volume. And pwede rin yung weight. No? You have to use special devices such as weighing scale in order for you to have an idea kung ano yung weight mo or mass. Okay? So, bakit kailangan mag-measure sa chemistry? Because, una sa lahat, measurements can give us an idea about matter. Okay, it can tell us how many particles are there sa inyong matter. Okay, so kumbaga, measurement is one way to see matter, no? Isa siyang paraan, no, para makita mo kung ano ba yung nasa matter natin. Okay, so yan. So that's why measurement is very important sa chemistry. Kumbaga, ito yung gateway to understand the matter, no, itself. Okay? So when we are doing measurement, it is usually composed of two parts or two components. Number one is the number, which gives an idea how much, no, yung isang value. Okay, so it will tell you if that's an integer or a decimal, no? And after your number, after the value, may corresponding unit, no? So the unit will make sense of the number, no? Kunwari, 5. O, ano yung 5? 5 carabaos, no? Hindi, no? Kung 5 kilogram yan, hindi, that means 5 kilo yung object mo. So, kumbaga, when we are doing measurements, there should be a magnitude, no? Which is yung number and yung corresponding unit, no? That will make sense that will give the number its sense, no? Okay, so hindi lang siya basta 5, no? Ano siya, 5 centimeter, no? Kaya 5 kilograms, no? 5 meters, no? So, yun yung ano lang. Yun yung idea sa measurement, no? So, kumbaga, kapag measurement, may value and then may unit, okay? So, the unit will give us an idea, ano ba yung pinapatukuyan natin with the number, okay? So, yan. And there are various types of, ano, or various systems of measurement, no, that dates back around the imperial time span, no? So we have the English system of units, we have the metric system, and the international system of units, no? So actually yung English system of units, isama na rin natin yung other forms of measurement, no? Sa ibang mga kaharian, ibang kingdom, for example, Egypt, no? Okay. So pasadahan lang natin sila onte, no? Short history lang tayo. Hindi ko babasahin yan, no? ML lang yan eh. So, punta tayo sa English system of units, no? So, before, the golden standard in the society is the ruling person, no? Let's say, hari, no? Or yung queen, no? So, sila yung pinagbabasihan ng mga tao before, no? Sila yung source ng laws, sila yung source ng judgment, whether this person should be hanged or kailangan ba siya palayain, 'di ba? Ganun naman nung unang panahon. And meron din silang other contributions sa measurement. Yung body size nila, yung basis din for measurement, okay? Imagine nyo, 1 feet, 5 feet. Ano ba yung meaning ng feet doon? 1 foot, 5 feet, no? So, ano meaning ng foot or feet doon? Meaning nun, literal na paa, no? Kanino binibase yung paa na yon? Sa hari or sa queen, okay? So, kung babalikan niyo yung history ng Egypt, ng Britain, no, ng Europe dati, Gano'n yung paraan nila, no? So, kumbaga, all measurements, no, must be based on the king or the queen's physical traits, no? For example, isang yarda, gagawin lang nila yung arms ng hari or ng queen, stretch lang niya, yun na yung yarda. Okay? So, yung paa niya, susukatin lang nila, yun na yung feet or foot, no? So, ganun. And marami pang ibang derived measurements ang based sa physical body ng ruling person, no? So, yun yung English system, okay? So, yun yung mga pounds, miles, gallons. Yung gallons, literal na galon, okay? Yung nga sa Pilipinas, tawag natin sa galon ay galon. Kasi, yun. Yun yung basis nila. O, ito object, tawag dito galon. So, kung gaano karami tubig dyan, ibig sabihin, isang galon yun. Okay? Diba? Nag-iisip sila, no? Okay. So, yun yung English style, no? So, kumbaga, based yung measurement sa physical properties ng tao or based din siya sa physical objects. Okay? However, as time progresses, no? Ayun, so habang nagpa-progress yung time and then nagkakaroon tayo ng advanced knowledge sa science, no? Nangyari na yung French Revolution, no? So, isa sa mga key products ng French Revolution ay yung pag-change from imperial system to metric system. Okay? So bakit? Kasi when you are trading with different kingdoms before, no, iba-iba yung katawan ng mga ruler nila. So ibig sabihin nun, if you are trading this wood, no, kunwari isang malaking ano ng kahoy yan, ibebenta mo to other nations, what happens is that kung ano yung measurement sa kingdom nyo, iba siya with the other kingdom. Okay? So there are discrepancies when it comes to measurement kasi iba-iba yung standard nila. So as a result, no?
Punta pa tayo Pasig na tito?
Hindi na.
Hindi na daw?
Ayun.
Ayun. Okay, so as a result, no? So since iba-iba yung sizes ng tao, so nagkagulo na when it comes to trade, no? And they find it unfair, no? And then yun, nag-aklas-aklas na sila, no? Together with other political opinions during that time, no? So yun. So nagkaroon ng French Revolution and one of the products there is yung change from imperial system to the metric system. Okay? So kung dati sa imperial based sa tao, sa metric system, based na siya sa physical objects na lang, no? So wala nang factor yung tao doon. So kahit sino yung maghari, hindi na nagma-matter kung ano yung size niya, no? Kasi may physical object na pinagbabasihan for the measurement, no? And then eventually over time, no, they standardize the metric system based on the physical properties that or physical object that exists sa Earth, no? So ito yung mga base units nila for the metric system and may corresponding may corresponding source, no, or may corresponding tawag dun, may corresponding basis, no. Ayan. May nag-message lang. Ay, okay lang, Miles. Ingat na lang sa biyahe. Okay. So, yan. Okay, so ayun. So ito yung naging product ng French Revolution, metric system. So ano uli nangyari? From physical objects, in-eliminate nila yung factor na yon, ginawa nilang physical objects na. Ay, ano yung sabi ko? Nawala ako From persons, ginawa nilang physical object yung basis. Okay, so yun. So these are the base units of the metric system. So length, volume, mass, time, temperature, energy, and amount of substance. Ito yung corresponding units na. So dati, yung length, no, that is based on the distance from the North Pole to the equator divided by a certain number. Okay? So, medyo outdated na yan. So, hindi ko na binasa masyado, no? So, ganun yung ginawa nila. So, distance from North Pole down to the equator. Tapos, i-divide mo siya by a certain number, yun na daw yung meter. Okay. Tapos yung volume, ano lang yan, yung meter na nakuha nyo, i-times 3 mo lang, length with height. Yun na yung volume. So, 1 cubic meter na yun, yung volume na yan. Tapos ano pa, yung mass, yung mass naman before, that is based on a physical object, no? Let me show you kung anong itsura ng basis for the mass. Yung prototype yan eh. Yung international prototype of kilogram. So it is nabubulal na ako. It is still exists pa rin naman, no? Although na-outphase na natin siya. So ito yon, ito yung naging basis nila for the mass of the object, no? Ever since until mapalitan siya just few years ago. Okay? So ito yung object na yon, yung cylinder in which all kilograms, no, are based, no? Lahat ng kilogram sa mundo diyan naka-base sa object na yan. Okay? Ano time, seconds. Ito naman yung based on the oscillation of atoms, no? Okay? So temperature, Kelvin, ito naman yung based sa movement ng molecules. Di-discuss natin later on. Marami pang kwento yan. Yung energy naman, joule, that is the scientific ano na, unit, and the amount of substance is mole, no, given by Avogadro, no, noong 17th century. Okay? So, yun yung ano, yun yung changes natin from English or from imperial to metric system. Ano yung difference? Key difference, noong English or imperial system, based siya sa physical persons, no? Yung body size ng tao. Okay. However, for metric system, based na lang siya sa objects, no? Based siya sa distances, no, of places, based siya sa physical objects such as this prototype. Ayan. So, doon na nila binase yan. Okay? However, however, by the way, bago tayo mag-however. And then, ang good thing pa with, ano, with the metric system, you can expand the measurement, no? So, nung ano kasi, English system, kunwari, you are talking about miles or feet distances, no? So, wala silang pang shorten, di ba? Di ba sa American system or sa, I mean, sa modern measurement natin ngayon, kunwari, from grams to kilograms, 1,000 yung factor. So, kunwari, let's say, I have 52,000 grams. Pwede ko yun i-shorten as 52 kilograms. Sa English system, walang ganon. Kunwari, 52,000 pounds. Wala siyang 52 kilopounds. Walang ganon, no? So, kumbaga sa metric system, pwede mo ma-expand yung number mo or pwede mo rin siya mapaliit, no? Using the Greek prefixes, no? Or the powers of 10, okay? So, depending on the powers of 10 that you use, no? May corresponding equivalent siya sa base unit mo. Okay, so kunwari, grams, gagawin mong kilograms. So, ibig sabihin, yung difference nila ay factor of 1,000. Kunwari, meter to kilometer. Okay, so ibig sabihin nun, 1,000 metro, 1 kilometro, yung katumbas. No? So that means you can shorten big numbers into small values na lang, small digit. Kunwari, 52 gigabyte ng data. No? Oh, yung 52 gigabyte ng data, so that's equivalent to 52 billion bytes of data. So instead of writing too many zeros, gaya ng ginagawa nila sa imperial system, pwede mo na burahin yung ibang zero. Okay? So yun yung good thing with the metric system. Based na siya sa physical object and based din siya, pwede siya may expand or may contract. No? Pwede mo palawakin yung numbers or paliitin yung numbers using the Greek prefixes. By the way, please be familiar with all of this, ha? Yan. Kailangan ba 'to kabisado? Supposedly kabisado na dapat, no? Pero okay lang sumilip-silip dito. Okay? So, yan. And then lastly, we have the system international, the unites or the international system of units na. So, pakita ko sa inyo yung ano, yung recent changes sa system ano sa SI units, no. Um, kamakailan lang siya in-update, no. So, binago nila yung definitions ng objects, no, just recently. And ito na yung nangyari, no. So the SI system is still similar with the metric system. Kumbaga, anak pa rin siya ng metric system. However, instead of basing the measurements using physical objects, no, they used matter, no, to define certain quantities. Okay. So, 'di ba dati, yung length, this is the distance from North Pole to the equator. Now, it is the distance traveled by photon, no? In a fraction of a second, no? So, yun daw yung 1 meter. Kasi bakit kailangan ganun, no? Ba't kailangan i-base na siya sa physical objects instead of earthly stuff, no? Kasi malay nyo, mapunta tayo sa ibang planets, no? Yun talaga yung isa rin sa mga reason. So, kapag mapunta tayo sa ibang planets, does it mean na we need to change our measurements or we should use the universal measurement, no? So, gumawa na lang sila ng universal measurement, no? Para anywhere in the universe ka, kasi mukhang magiging possible yung paglipat-lipat natin ng planets in the near future. So, anywhere you go, uniform pa rin yung measurement natin, no? So, yun, instead of basing length uh, sa North Pole to equator, based na siya sa distance traveled by photon or light in a fraction of a second, no? Yung mass naman, instead of basing it sa yung prototype na pinakita ko sa inyo kanina, yung cylinder, it is now changed to the Planck's constant, no? So yung Planck's constant, that is a universal constant that includes mass units, no? So yun. So yun yung recent na ginawa nila. Actually, binabasa ko yung article dati paano kaso na-amaze na lang ako no paano kaya nila naiisip yung mga ganong bagay. Okay. So kumbaga, meron na silang instrument, mineasure nila yung exact amount, yung exact voltage necessary to make it balance, then kinonvert nila yon into mass, no, by Planck's constant value. So yun. Mga weird stuff, mga ginagawa ng mga physicist natin, no. Okay. So agree na lang tayo sa kanila. Okay. So ganun na. So hindi na siya based sa prototype. Instead, it is now based on a universal constant, which is the Planck's constant. Yung time, ganun pa rin. That's the oscillation of certain molecule, certain atom, cesium atom yan to be exact, no? In a fraction of a second, no? And yun. And the rest are, yun, check nyo na lang sa internet, okay? So, bali ganun lang. Yun yung improvements natin sa measurement, no? So, we started by measuring the body sizes of our leaders, no? Tapos, nagkaroon ng revolusyon. And then, after ng revolution, nagkaroon ng metric system. Okay? So, yung metric system, ginawa na nilang uniform sa Earth ang measurement ng length, volume, mass, time, temperature, etc. And then, later on, as science improved, no, over time, nagkaroon na tayo ng international system of units, no? So, instead of basing the quantities, no, or the unit quantities sa physical objects, ang ginawa na lang ay based na siya sa universal constants, no? Okay. Okay. And ano pa yung pwede natin gawin with measurement, no? Ito yung mga common measurement na ginagamit natin in our daily life na. Okay? So, ang length, that is defined as the distance from one point to another point, no? So, you may need to use a measuring tape, no? Or meter stick, no? O kaya yung ginagamit ng karpentero, yung bumabalik pag binitawan mo. Okay. So, yun. So, you can use those stuff to measure distances, no? Or length. Pag volume naman, you can use containers that has graduations o kaya using the length, no, and the correct formula, no, for that objects, no, pwede mo makuha yung volume ng object na yan. Okay? Yung mass naman, this is the measure of the quantity of matter in an object. No? So kung ano yung mass ng isang object, yun yung dami ng particles sa loob niya. Okay? Pwede mo kasi sila ipag-convert later on, which will be discussed on chapter 4. No? And then mass is independent of location. No? So anywhere you go, kung ano yung mass mo, yun na yun. Okay? Ano yung nagbabago-bago? Yung weight, no? So depending on your position or depending on what place are you in, your weight will change. However, your mass will remain the same. Bakit constant yung mass? Kasi meron tayong tinatawag na law of conservation of mass, no? Kung gaano karami yung particles sa katawan mo, yun na talaga yung mass mo, di magbabago yon. However, may iba pang factors that could affect the measurement, especially sa weight. Yun yung gravitational acceleration. Okay? So yung weight, this changes because the gravitational pull of the Earth, no, sa surface ng Earth ay iba-iba, no. So pwedeng iba yung weight mo here sa Philippines and iba yung weight mo sa Canada. Okay? Hindi dahil na nagutom ka, no, or nag naubusan ka ng energy habang pumupunta ka ng Canada. No. Kasi yung sa totoo lang, kung isipin nyo yung Earth ay uniform yung gravitational pull, hindi, no? There are places sa Earth na mahina yung gravitational pull. As a consequence, mababa yung weight mo. Okay? And also, there are places on Earth na malakas yung gravitational pull. So that means mataas yung weight mo. Okay? So kung gusto mo magbago yung weight mo, okay, without doing anything, lipat ka ng ibang lugar kung saan mababa yung gravitational pull. Okay, so ganun. For us to solve for the weight of an object, no, we use the formula W is equals to mg, where m is the mass of an object in kilograms, no, and g is the acceleration due to gravity, which is on average ay 9.8 meter per second square. Okay? And the final unit for weight is newtons. Okay? So pag pinagsama-sama natin yung unit na kilogram, meter per second square, yan ay equivalent to newtons. Okay? So hulaan nyo sino gumawa niyan, si Newton. Okay? So yan. Ang dami niyang ginawa sa buhay. Okay? Tapos maaga siya namatay. Okay, so ano yung idea doon? Huwag mo na gagawa ng maraming bagay. Imagine nyo si Newton, no? Ang galing niyan eh. So meron siyang contributions sa chemistry, meron sa physics, meron sa calculus, halos lahat, no? Even sa even sa mga philosophy stuff, meron din siyang contribution, no? Daming time. Anyway, so balik ulit tayo dito. So let's look at the few examples we have here, no? Kung nauunti kayo sa examples natin, don't worry, by next meeting, no, magsasagot-sagot tayo ng activities, no, ng mga worksheet. 'Di ba sabi ko mag-worksheet tayo, no? So gagawin natin 'yung next meeting. Okay? So sa ngayon, kung ano 'yung examples dito, take note muna natin. Then I will give you more examples by next meeting. Okay? So ano na tayo? Kunwari ito, compute the weight of an object, compute the weight of a body on Earth whose mass is 30 kilograms. The acceleration due to gravity is given as 9.8 meter per second square. Okay? So, anong gagawin mo? Yung 30 kilogram, that's the mass. You just multiply it with the acceleration due to gravity, no? So, that's 30 times 9.8. So, you will get 294 newtons. Okay? So, suppose yung body na yan, dalhin natin sa Mars. Google ko kung ano yung acceleration sa Mars. Gravitational. Sa Moon na lang. Ang layo ng Mars eh. Ako na rin, ito sa Moon. Suppose the same object is broth papunta sa Moon. Okay? Dinala ng mga scientists. So, lumipad yung object papunta sa buwan. Okay. So, kunin natin yung weight niya. Kapag yan ay nasa moon, so ang gravitational acceleration sa moon ay, okay, so moon, wait lang, blue na lang. Okay. Pagdating sa moon, ang gravitational acceleration ay 1.62 meter per second square. Okay? So let's try to get the mass of that object, no? Tignan natin kung mabigat pa rin ba siya. So the formula is mg, di ba? Effort. So that's 30 kilogram times 1.62 meter per second square. Multiply ko lang. Ayun, so that's 48.6 Newton. So, by how much ang difference ng weight ng object na to sa Earth and sa Moon? Okay? So, kunin ko yung factor kung gaano kalaki yung binaba. Okay? So, 6 times, no, ang ginaan ng object pag dinala mo siya sa Moon. That's why, pwede mo to magamit as way, no, to refute those who do not believe sa moon landing, no, kasi sasabihin nila ang bigat-bigat ng object na yan, paano nila nabuhat yan? Okay, yes, mabigat yung object pero yung weight yung nagmamatter kasi, no, hindi lahat na mabigat dito sa earth mabigat sa moon. Remember the formula, may g doon, no, may gravitational acceleration. So if the gravitational pull is strong, that means the object will weigh more. Pero kapag ang gravitational pull ay hindi strong, mababa lang, so that means the object is light. No? So kaya nga nabubuhat nila yung scientific equipment sa moon. No? Tsaka kung mapapansin mo yung videos ng mga astronaut, diba? Tumatalon-talon sila doon na parang ewan. Okay? Kasi super gaan sa feeling yan. Kaya pwede ka tumalbog-talbog talaga sa surface ng Earth, sa surface ng Moon. Okay? So, yun lang. So, next one, we have this problem. Compute the weight of a body on the Moon if the mass is 45 kilogram. Ito na pala, ginugol ko pa. Hindi nagbabasa. Okay, so, kanara ito, 45 kilogram. Ayan yung gravitational acceleration. So, multiply mo lang yung mass sa G, no? And then you will end up with 73.125 newtons, no? Magaan pa rin yan, okay? So, ayan. O suppose, yung weight, no? Ito yung next question natin, no? Compute kayo, no, kung gusto nyo. Next question ko dyan is, anong mass, no? Ano yung corresponding mass niya if yung 73.125 Newton object ay nasa Earth, no? Ay nasa Earth. Kunwari, yung weight ay the same, 73.125. Ano yung corresponding mass nun kapag nasa Earth ka na? Okay, so tignan natin, no? So, dito ako sa taas. So, ang formula ay W equals mg. So, hanapin natin yung mass, no? So, since may kasama siyang g, may question. Wait lang. Sir, dun po sa computation sa moon, ano unit ng... yung unit ay Newton. So, that's 48.6 Newton. Newton. Yan, Newton. Okay. Ang other unit ng Newton ay kilogram meter per second square. Okay. Yan, so parang ganyan. Ayan. Kunwari, balik tayo sa problem na to. Consider ito yung weight. Ano yung corresponding mass niya sa Earth? No? Solve natin. So, M yung hinahanap. May kasama siyang G. So, we divide both sides by the G. No? So, we will end up with the equation M equals W over G. So, weight is 73.125 Newton divided by the acceleration due to gravity on Earth kasi ang usapan ay Earth. So that's 9.8 meter per second square. Solve natin, ang daming notif. 73.125, 9.8, 7.46 kilograms. Imagine nyo, yung difference Ang laki Yung 7 kilograms dito sa Earth, that will have the same mass, I mean the same weight as the 45 kilogram object sa moon. Okay, ano lang yung naging difference? Yung gravitational acceleration. Okay? So, ang laki ng difference, no? 7 kilogram, kayang-kaya mo buhatin yan Okay? So, yun. So, mga nagsusulat, okay lang. Pwede nyo rin naman screenshot. Screenshot. Okay? Next one, time, no? So, itong time, ito yung pinaka-weird, no? Pinaka-weird sa lahat ng uri ng measurement because it appears that time is only moving forward. And yun yung reason kung bakit, but hindi pa possible yung time travel. Although they are trying to tweak that, no? Okay. So, anyway, so time. Okay, so yung time, that is the quantity, no? Na saan ba based ang time? Ang time ay based din sa oscillation ng atoms, no? So, if the atom oscillated this much time, no? Kunwari, 6 billion, I'm not sure with the exact number, pero mag-oscillate yon by a very big number. So, binibilang nila yung number of oscillations, no? Pag na-reach niya yung ganung number, ibig sabihin nun, 1 second yun. Okay? So, binibase talaga nila lahat sa atoms, no? Yung measurement. Okay? So, yung time, regardless of what measurement system are you using, iisa lang yan, no? So, kung imperial period yan, pwedeng metric period o kaya SI period, no? So, iisa yung ginamit sa time, no? Nagkasundo na lang sila na yan yung time. Okay? And then, lastly, temperature. Last na ba to? Hindi ko sure. Anyway, so kwentuhan ko itong temperature. Medyo funny to Okay. So, nung unang panahon, what we have is Fahrenheit only. Okay. So, Fahrenheit muna, then pumasok si Celsius, no? And then, later on, nung nag-improve yung science, we have Kelvin na. Kwentuhan ko kayo saan sila based. Okay. So, yung Fahrenheit, that is based on body temperatures, no? Based on body temp, no? Sabi pa nga ng Wikipedia dati, no? Nabasa ko lang to dati. Yung Fahrenheit daw ay based sa temperature ng rectum ng kalabaw. Pero for much friendly words na lang para mas maging children friendly yung kwento ng yung kwento ng history niya. Body temp na lang daw. Pero totoo 'yon, no. So ginagawa daw dati ni Fahrenheit, no, is gumagamit siya ng temperature probe, tinutusok niya sa kalabaw, no. And then eventually ginamit 'yun sa tao, no. Okay. So that's why kapag ikaw ay may lagnat, ang measurement ay 100 degree Fahrenheit, no. So, yun yung parang ceiling ni Fahrenheit, no? Kapag ikaw ay nilalagnat, 100 degrees Fahrenheit. And the rest, anything below that is di ka nilalagnat, no? Or malamig, anything above that is masyadong mainit for the body. Okay? So, yun. So, yan. So, that's based on body temp. The next one is Celsius. Okay? So, si Celsius naman, siya yung naging katunggali ni Fahrenheit, no? Okay. So, saan based si Celsius? Kung si Fahrenheit ay based sa body temperature ng animals, no? Si Celsius naman ay based sa water. Okay. Kasi sabi ni Celsius, mas universal ang water kaysa sa animals, no? Kasi hindi naman the same yung animals throughout sa Earth, no? So may mga animals na nag-exist sa Europe na wala sa Africa or sa Australia, no? So yun yung reasoning nila. So that's why sabi ni Celsius, iba-base ko na lang ang temperature scale ko sa water, wherein if it freezes, that's 0 degrees Celsius. And when it starts to boil, that's 100 degrees Celsius. Anything in between is just a matter of uh, scale na lang, no? So, i-divide mo na lang yung scale mo. Okay, so from 0 to 100. Okay? So, yun yung basis ni Celsius, water. And good yan, no? Tinanggap yan ng mga tao before. Tinanggap yan ng scientists, engineers, no? However, pumasok si Kelvin, no? So, si Kelvin yung pinaka ginamit talaga eventually, no? Sa scientific community. Okay? Why? Because si Kelvin, mas kumuha siya ng mas universal na representative. 'Di ba kay Fahrenheit, body, animal, no? Animal temperature. Kay Celsius, water. So okay, mukhang okay si Celsius kasi tubig yung basis niya. Si Kelvin, mas universal yung ginawa niya. He based his temperature scale on atoms. No? Sabi ni Kelvin, no, kapag ang atom daw gumagalaw, that means may temperature yon, may heat, no? Okay. Kapag huminto yung atom, that means walang heat or that means zero Kelvin yon or absolute zero. That is the lowest temperature for all types of matter, yung absolute zero. Okay? However, kapag ang molecule mo or yung atom mo, it starts to vibrate or move, magbibigay yon ng energy. And as a result, tataas yung temperature. Okay? So to further give you an idea about Kelvin's basis, okay. So to further give you an idea sa basis ni Kelvin, ganito gagawin natin. Uh, ito yung kamay nyo. Taas nyo lang. Magdadasal tayo. Okay. So, ito yung hands natin. Let's imagine ito ay atoms. Okay. So, pagdikitin nyo siya. So, kapag hindi yan gumagalaw, wala kang mafe-feel na temperature masyado. Okay. Then, sabi ni Kelvin, try mo igalaw yung kamay mo. So, i-try mo siya. I-rub against each other. So, ano na-feel nyo? Marumi na, no? The joke. So, nafe-feel nyo, umiinit siya, no? So, ganun kasi yung logic ni Kelvin, no? So, kapag yung molecule di gumagalaw, absolute zero yan. So, that means malamig, no? Pero when it starts vibrating, pag nagva-vibrate na yung inyong atoms, doon na siya nagkakaroon ng temperature reading. Okay? So, yun yung tinanggap sa science, no? Si Kelvin. Although, it is still based on Celsius idea, no? Mas universal nga lang yung concept ni Kelvin. Okay? Okay, so and also it is important na kapag kayo gumagawa ng measurement, you should convert it from one unit to the other. Bakit? So punta kayo sa ano, kunwari, ano kayo, kunwari American kayo, Fahrenheit gamit nila eh. Kunwari American ka, punta ka sa Pilipinas, just nilalagnat ka na. Punta ka sa ospital, try mo sabihin, my temperature is 100 degrees. Ano yung isipin mo kung ikaw yung ano, kung ikaw yung magre-receive ng patient na yon? 100 degrees, kumukulo ka na ba? No? Hindi, no? So, there will be a misunderstanding kapag walang unit. Okay? So, pag sinabing 100 degrees, they are pertaining to Fahrenheit, no? Not Celsius. So, para mas magkaunawaan yung people of different communities, one should convert their unit to the other unit. Okay? So when converting one scale to another scale, we use the following formulas. No? So this equation can be used, no, in converting Celsius to Kelvin. Okay, and all the other equations here, no, can be used to convert uh, Fahrenheit to Celsius and vice versa. Okay, madali lang yung Celsius to Kelvin. Bakit, no? Kasi you will only have to add 273.15. Okay? So from Celsius to Kelvin, just add 273.15. Pag gusto mo bumalik sa Celsius from Kelvin, you deduct 273.15. Ganun lang ka-easy. However, for Fahrenheit, excuse me, for Fahrenheit and Celsius, medyo tricky yung equation. Okay? So to convert Celsius to Fahrenheit, no? So you have to use this equation. Degrees Fahrenheit equals 9/5 degrees Celsius plus 32. So ito yung Celsius to Fahrenheit. Kailangan ba kabisaduhin to? Pwede naman. Okay, pwede naman. Bakit? Kasi ako nagpapa-index card ako yan. So yan. So pwede nyo ring i-apply yun sa quizzes nyo at home. Okay, so ganun. So that's 9/5 degrees Celsius plus 32. Ito yung conversion from Celsius to Fahrenheit na. And then kung gusto mo naman Fahrenheit to Celsius, you subtract 32 muna, no? So Fahrenheit minus 32 times 5/9. Okay? And that will give you the Celsius counterpart. So yun lang. So let's try this, no? Let's look at some examples. More examples pa next meeting, no? So ngayon, kinig-kinig lang muna tayo. Okay, so these are some few examples. Suppose we have 98.6 as our body temperature. We convert that to Celsius. So anong gagamitin? Yung Fahrenheit to Celsius, no? So ito yung Fahrenheit to Celsius. So you use this equation. You plug in this value, 98.6 minus 32, and then later on you multiply it by 5/9. And you will end up with 37 degrees Celsius. Actually, mataas na yan, no? Okay. Pero mas malala kapag yung nasa mall ka, tapos ang temperature sa'yo 34 degrees Celsius. No? Kakagulat na lang minsan, kala mo patay ka na, no? So, yun. So, kaya ako may thermometer ako parate, no? Wala lang. Just in case na nagloloko na yung thermometer ng mga guards sa mall. Ako na yung nagaganon. Kuya, ano ako? 36. Hindi ako 30 degrees Celsius. Buhay pa ako. So, ganun. Although be polite, no? Sabihin nyo na lang, Kuya, sira na ata yung ano nyo, thermometer, no? Maganda informed din sila, no? So, yun. Let's have some other examples. Ito naman, from Celsius to Fahrenheit, a certain solder has a melting point of 224 degrees Celsius. What is the melting point in degrees Fahrenheit? No? So, this is from Celsius to Fahrenheit. So, you have to use this equation, Celsius to Fahrenheit. No? So, that's Celsius times 9/5 plus 32. So, ganun gagawin nyo. Celsius times 9/5 plus 32. You will have your Fahrenheit counterpart. Okay. Ano yung solder? Yung solder, yun yung panghinang. Alam ko naman na familiar kayo sa Facebook meme. Yung babae, hawak niya yung bakal sa solder. Mainit kasi yun eh. Kaya kailangan di mo hawak. Yung ginaganon sa electronics, yun yung solder. And then next one, we have this one. Mercury, the only metal that exists as liquid at room temperature, melts at negative 38 degrees Celsius. You convert that into Kelvin. So again, kapag Celsius to Kelvin, that's very easy, no? You just add 273.15. Okay? So that's negative 38.9 plus 273.15. You will have your Kelvin value equal to 234.3 Kelvin. By the way, kapag kayo nagsosolve ng Kelvin, always make sure na positive ang value ng Kelvin. Bakit? Kasi kapag yan ay nag-negative, mali yung solve nyo. Baka nagkamali ka ng sign. Okay? Kasi the lowest value for Kelvin is just 0. Hanggang 0 lang siya. Okay, so pag naging negative pa yung sagot mo sa Kelvin, nagkamali ka ng solve, no? So pwedeng napagbaliktad mo yung sign. Okay? So you have to be careful. Hanggang 0 lang ang Kelvin. Okay? So more examples pa sa sa Friday. Okay, so punta pa tayo sa iba pang measurements. We have density. When you say density, this is the ratio of the object's mass, no, over its volume, no, its volume occupied. Okay. So in equation, that's D equals mv. No? Pwede kayo gumamit ng triangle na to kung ayaw nyo mag-cross multiply. Okay, so dmv. Okay, so paano ginagamit tong triangle na to? So this is density, this is mass, this is volume. Kunwari, you are solving for density, takpan mo yan. Okay, so takpan nyo yan, ano yung makikita nyo na lang? M over V. So that's mass over volume. Ganun na. Kunwari, yung mass naman hinahanap nyo, takpan nyo to. Ano yung matitira? dV. Pag magkadikit, multiplication. Okay? Pag V yung hinahanap, pag volume, takpan nyo to. Ano yung matitira? M over D. So mass divided by density. So that's how you use this triangle, no? Sa chemistry, napakaraming equation na naka-triangle. So medyo Illuminati-ish tong chem, no? Pero useful 'yan. So again, dmv, takpan nyo yung nawawala. The remaining the remaining variables, doon nyo pwede makuha yung equation. Okay? Pag nasa taas yung isa, nasa baba yung isa, division yon. Pag magkatabi, multiplication. Okay? So ganun lang. Pero again, kung kaya nyo mag-cross multiply, kailangan kaya nyo. Madali lang naman na. Okay, so let's have some few examples here. Okay. So if 73.2 ml of a liquid has a mass of 61.5 grams, what will be its density in gram per ml? So ano lang, divide mo lang yung mass by the volume. Okay. So nasa taas, numerator mo yung 61.5. Sa denominator, andun yung 73.2 ml. And obtain the ratio, you will get the density equal to 0.840 grams per ml. Okay, so next one, the density of mercury is 13.6 gram per ml. Calculate the mass of 5.5 ml of the liquid. Or you can use your triangle dito. Okay? Kung nahihirapan kayo mag-derive, and that's okay. Madali lang naman. Tuturuan ko ng mga technique, okay, such as this triangle. Ano hinahanap dito? Sabi dyan, calculate the mass. So, takpan mo to. Ano yung operation na matitira? D times V. So, that means mass is equal to density times the volume. Okay? Ano pa yung kailangan natin i-take note, no? You should take note that the units must cancel out. Okay? So kung ml yung unit ng volume sa density, kailangan ml yung unit ng volume mo ng liquid. Okay? Kasi kapag ito ay naka-liters, hindi mo yan ma-divide. Hindi mo siya maka-cancel. So kailangan this unit and that unit should be the same. Okay? So, paano po kapag hindi parehas ng unit, convert ka pa. Okay? So, from liters to ml, 1,000 yung factor. Okay? So, ganun. Convert lang kayo using the powers of 10. Okay? So, multiplying them, that will give us a mass of 74.8 grams. Specific gravity, this is similar with density. Ang difference lang ay walang unit. Okay? Bakit siya naging similar with density? Because specific gravity is the density of the object divided by the density of water at 4 degrees Celsius. At 4 degrees Celsius kasi, the density of water is exactly 1 gram per ml. Okay? So, at 4 degrees Celsius lang siya, 1 gram per ml. No? So, imagine mo, yung number na to, divide mo by 1, edi yun din yun. Okay? However, because of the units na gram per ml sa numerator and sa denominator, magka-cancel out sila. So that means a specific gravity is just a value without units na. So divide mo lang siya by 1 basically, and then the units will cancel out eventually. So just like here sa example na to. Okay? So easy lang na. Ganun din dito. Kunwari, ang specific gravity, 13.6. Ano yung density? Anong gagawin nyo? Ilagay nyo na lang yung gram per ml. Okay na yun. Huwag na kayo mag-derive. So, ganun lang yun. Ang specific density, or specific gravity, that is same as density. The only difference is that may unit yung density, in specific gravity, wala. No? Because the number is divided, or the density is divided by the density of the water at 1 degree Celsius done. Okay? So, same value lang. Okay? So, tapos na tayo sa first part ng ating lesson. No? So, ngayon, punta tayo sa next part. No? So, hopefully naman naalala nyo pa yung senior high school stuff nyo before, no? Okay. So, next meeting is strengthen natin yung measurements, ha? So, marami tayong worksheet na sasagutan next meeting. Okay. So, i-upload ko siya around Thursday. Pwede na kayo mag-work on with those items. Para by Friday, pwede na tayo mag-recitation, no? Ungraded yung recitation naman. Okay. So kung sino yung gusto mag-recite, sino gusto makilala, edi go na. And that is encouraged naman. Okay? Anyway, so let's proceed. Scientific notation. Um, para saan to? Kasi ganito, in chemistry, we will be dealing with huge numbers. No? When I say huge numbers, sobrang laking numbers. No? Tinagalog ko lang. In a sense na maraming zero. No? For example, number of atoms. Gano'ng karami yun? 6022, 000, 000, dot. Maraming zero. Kunwari, mass ng hydrogen. Ano yung mass ng hydrogen? 0.000 something, dot, 144. Okay, so ganun. So in chemistry, we will be dealing with huge and small numbers. Hindi lang huge and small, very huge and very small numbers. Okay? So the problem with those numbers is that pwedeng magkamali tayo ng sulat. No? For example, Avogadro's number. Nakalimutan mo yung ibang zero. Nagkamali ka ng zero, edi mali na yung mali na yung number of particles mo. So, mali na yung calculation mo. Okay? So, ganun. Magkaiba yung may sobrang zero at may kulang na zero sa actual number. Okay? So, yun yung inaiwasan natin. So, that's why we introduce the scientific notation. So, what is a scientific notation? This is a shorthand way of writing big or small numbers. Okay? So instead of writing all the zeros, we instead write the excuse me. We instead write the the whole numbers na, yung mga integers na lang. Okay? And then the other zeros are eliminated. So, in writing scientific notations, no, or scientific numbers, no, what we do is that we follow this format. Capital N times 10 raised to small letter n. Yan talaga yung format. Okay? Isa-isahin natin. Itong capital letter N, what is this? This is the coefficient. Tama ba spelling ko? Check nyo na lang. Okay? So that is the coefficient. Okay? So the coefficient is actually derived from your original number. Paano po dinederive yan? Mamaya daanan natin. Okay? So, and your coefficient should have values between 1 to 10. Okay? It should not be greater than 10. Less than 10 lang. So, ito yung criteria niya. Should start from 1, greater greater than or equal to 1 yung n, yung coefficient, pero it is always less than 10. Kaya sabi lang dito 1 to 9. Pero ito yung actual range niya. Pwedeng from 1 to less than 10. Okay? So, kailangan pasok yun doon. Okay? Kasi kapag hindi, you have to move the decimal point again. Okay? So, that's the coefficient. It only has values ranging dito sa numbers na to. Okay? And then the exponent part, no? We call this exponent, no? Ano yan? It could be positive or negative, pero whole number yan. Okay? So what does the exponent tells us now? So that the exponent tells us na ilang places mo ba inurong yung decimal point to arrive sa coefficient mo. So ilang beses mo siya inurong in order to get your coefficient. If you move to the left, ibig sabihin plus 1 kada step. Kunwari, I move my decimal point 5 places to the left, edi plus 5 yung exponent. O kunwari, I move my decimal point 5 places to the right. Pag to the right naman, minus 5 ang exponent, negative 5. Okay? To the left, positive. To the right, negative. Okay? So, ganun lang. So, let's have some few examples here. No? And more examples next meeting. No? Emphasize ko lang, baka isipin nyo. Unti naman ng example. No? Magsasawa kayo sa example bago mag-quiz. No? Kaya nga kung papanoorin nyo yung YouTube channels na, I don't know if napanood nyo na yung mga class discussion namin last time. Ito din yung mismong PowerPoint na ginamit ko doon. So kung gusto nyo panoorin yun, sige. Okay. So yan, nagsasagot kami ng sandamukal na questions after the PowerPoint na. Okay, so let's try to answer this. Express 568.762 in scientific notation. Again, what's the format? The format is capital N times 10 raised to small letter n. Yung capital N, that should be, that is the coefficient that is within 1 to 10. No? So, within dun yung range niya. So, okay na ba na nandyan yung decimal point? No. Because, kapag andyan yung decimal point, ano yung number mo? 568. Is that greater than 10? Yes, no? So, lagpas sa 10 yan. So, that means you have to move your decimal point in such way na pwedeng maging less than 10 na lang siya. Okay? So to make it less than 10, I will move my decimal point here sa left. If I place my decimal point here, is that less than 10? No. Kasi kapag nandito na yung decimal point, that will be 56.8 something. That is still greater than 10. So, ano gagawin ko? I will move my decimal point again to the left, no? Okay. To the left na siya, no? So, 2 steps to the left. So, I will get 5.68 something. Okay, 5.68762. So, yan. I have to move my decimal point 2 places to the left. So, I will get this coefficient which is less than 10, and that's the goal, no? Yun yung goal natin parate. Always less than 10 or greater than 1. Okay? So, ganun. Tapos, so yan, tapos na tayo sa end part, no? Sa capital N part, no? Okay na tayo dyan sa coefficient, no? Kasi nakakuha na natin yung less than 10. Ngayon, so kopyahin mo, times 10. So, yan, times 10 raised to small letter n. Again, kapag small letter n, ano yung kwento niyan? It tells us how many places you move your decimal point to the left or to the right. Okay? Pag to the left, okay? So pag to the left, ang movement ng decimal point mo, positive ba yan or negative? Pag to the left, positive. Pag to the right, negative. Okay? So ganun yung ganap dyan. So since I moved my decimal point 2 places to the left, that means my exponent is positive 2. Okay? So, ganun magsulat ng scientific notation. Again, you begin with your number. Ito yung number natin. You check kung saan mo pwede ilagay yung decimal point na makakuha ka ng numbers between 1 to 10. Okay? So, hanap ka ng position ng decimal point na pasok sa criteria for the coefficient. So, dito yon, isa, dalawa. So, I will get this coefficient now. And then, since I move 2 places to the left, no, my exponent is positive 2. Ayun. Punta naman tayo dito sa baba. So, express 0.00000772. Ayan. 0, 0. Ang dami. 772. Ano gagawin natin? Is this number okay na? Hindi. Kasi if my decimal point is here, this is less than 1. Ano ba yung criteria? At least greater than 1. Okay. Ang puti-puti ko pala sa picture. Ayan. Okay. So, ganun. So, kailangan yung number natin ay greater than 1. Or at least 1 or above na. Basta less than 10. Kaso ito, this is less than 1. So, ano gagawin ko? I will move my decimal point where? To the right. To the right, ha? Kasi andun yung whole numbers. No? So, urong ko dun yung decimal point. Ilang steps? Bilangin natin. Okay? So, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So, if I move my decimal point to the right 6 times, I will get 7.72 as my coefficient. Question, is that okay na? Okay na yan. Okay. Pwede na yan. So, copy mo na yan, 7.72 times 10 raised to how many steps? Ilan? 6 steps to the right. Okay? So, 6 steps to the right, so that means negative 6 ang aking exponent. Okay? So, that's how we write scientific notations. Okay? So, yun lang. Kapit lang kayo sa lessons natin. Medyo parang siguro second week pa lang ang dami nang nangyayari, no? Yung iba nga ngayon pa lang ata nakapasok sa class natin na kapit lang kayo ganito sa chem, no? Marami munang calculation akong ipapakita. Then later on, we will strengthen those numbers, okay? So ganun lang. Strengthen natin yung idea sa solving. Okay? So sa ngayon, chill muna, no? Tapos kapag ano daw uli, no? Pwede ulitin nyo na lang yung video or tignan nyo uli yung handouts. Then, by next meeting, dun tayo mag-strengthen ng ating knowledge. Okay? Kasi next week, quiz nyo na. No? By the way, this is the last week of the adjustment period. No? So, pwede pa rin kayo mag-change ng schedule nyo. Pero kapag okay na kayo dito, quiz agad next week na. Okay, so yun na yung ngayong week yung last week ng adjustment. Okay, so anyway, so ganun lang yung scientific notation, ha. Again, paano uli? So ito yung format natin. Yung n, tawag dyan, coefficient, no? And yung ating coefficient, may numbers, may range yan na ganito. Okay, it should be at least 1 or above, pero less than 10. Okay? So, anong gagawin nyo? To get the integer part, you move your decimal point, pwedeng to the left, to the right. No? Urong mo lang siya until you get your number that is fit, no, sa criteria ng coefficient. No? And then, depending on how many steps yung urong ng decimal point mo, yun yung magiging exponent mo. So if you move your decimal point to the left, that will be a positive exponent. If you move your decimal point to the right, that will be a negative exponent. Okay? Ikaw pa tayong ibang example. Tapos mas marami pa next meeting, ha? Ayan. Paano yung gagawin scientific notation? So, you start kung nasan yung dulo. Doon ko nilagay yung decimal point. Then, iurong ko yung decimal point in such way na makakuha ako ng number less than 10. Okay? So, ilan steps? Bilangin natin. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay na ba yan? Tinatamad na ako eh. Hindi pa, no? Siyam. Ay, teka lang. Tama ba? 9 na ba to? Pwede na ba ako huminto dito? Nawala ako eh. Hindi pa rin. 503 yan eh. 503.21. O, tuloy pa. Pwede na ba yan? Hindi, no? 50.321 yan eh. Urong ka pa. Yan. Pwede na ba yan? Pwede na. Okay? So, pwede na yan. Yan. Diyan na yung decimal point ko. Kasi 5.0321 na yan. Times 10 raised to ilang steps? Nakalimutan ko yung bilang. So, ulit ako. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So, 11 pala. Thank you. So, this is 11 steps to the left. So, this will be positive 11. So, that's how we write the scientific notation for that number. O, diba? Instead of writing too many zeros, ganito na lang. So, ganyan na lang. Of course, di yan applicable sa cheque, ha? Baka mag-scientific notation kayo sa mga cheque nyo in the future. So, ganyan lang. Okay, isa pa tayong example. Ayan. Paano yan? Kapag isa scientific notation ko, I will move my decimal point obviously saan? To the right. Na, papunta sa right. Kasi andun yung whole numbers eh. Papunta ako sa left, masalang liliit yan eh. Na? Okay. So, X dyan. Papunta ako to the right. Bilangin natin kung ilang steps, no? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay? So, I'll stop here. Times 10 raised to, since 10 steps to the right, that's negative 10. Easy lang, di ba? Easy. Super easy. Diba? Okay. Let's have next one. Last one na. Excuse me. Last one. Ba't puro 5.31 yung ginagamit ko? Ayan. Express nyo yan in scientific notation. Sige. Sir, meron ba yan? Meron. Okay. So, ito yung question. Do I have to move my decimal point pa? Hindi na. So, I don't need to move my decimal point na. Kasi yan na yun eh. Pasok na yan sa criteria. So, pero, kunwari, gusto ko, I want to write this in scientific notation. Paano yun? So, all you have to do is just to copy the coefficient. And then, since you did not move your decimal point, hindi mo siya ginalaw, raise to 0 lang yan. Okay? So, ganun. Sir, pwede ba yan? Raise to 0? Yes, okay lang yan. Okay? So, pwedeng may ganyan na sagot. Kasi hindi naman sinabi na yung exponent ay hindi pwedeng 0. No? So, it should be any numbers, no? Between negative whole numbers and then positive whole numbers. So, may 0 in between doon. So, okay lang kahit may 0 na exponent. Okay? So, ganun. Pag hindi igagalaw yung decimal point, raise to 0 lang. Okay? Mga trick questions lang. Baka isipin nyo, ay, walang sagot dito. Hindi, meron yan. Okay? So, ganun. So, let's proceed. Okay? So, let's talk about how we do operations sa scientific notations na. Paano tayo nagsosolve using scientific notations na. So, we can group our operations, pwedeng addition, subtraction, and then multiplication, division. So, when adding and subtracting numbers that are written in scientific notation, we should check if they have the same exponent. Tignan nyo kung may same exponent yan. Kasi kung hindi yan parehas ng exponent, ano gagawin? May mag-a-adjust na. So, I'll give you some examples na. Kopyahin ko tong numbers na para mas makita nyo yung process. 7.4, 2.1. Now, kunwari, you are asked, add these numbers. No? 7.4 times 10 raised to 3 plus 2.1 times 10 raised to 3. Anong unang gagawin? Sabi ko, you check your exponents. Check your exponents if they are the same. Are they the same? Yes. No? Parehas yang raised to 3. So, anong gagawin ko doon? Kopyahin mo lang yan. Times 10 raised to 3. Then, ano yung mangyayari sa natirang numbers? Ano mangyayari dito, pati dito? Ipag-add mo lang sila. Okay? So, you add them. Okay? So, ipag-add mo lang sila. So, 7.4, 2.1, so that will be 9.5 times 10 raised to 3. So, again, you should check if they have the same exponent. Kapag same yung exponent, ano gagawin? Kopyahin mo lang yon. So, ito yung kinopya ko lang. Tapos, yung pinag-add ko, yung mga coefficients na lang. Pag-add mo na lang yung coefficients na to get your final answer. Okay? So, easy lang, no? Kuha pa tayo isang example pa. Pag magno-notes kayo, screenshot nyo na lang, no? Para mabilis. Tapos sulat na lang kayo after the class. Isa pang example. Kunwari, ito. 9.32 times 10 raised to 3 plus 2.3 times 10 raised to 3. Ano ang gagawin? You check whether the exponents are the same or not, no? So, are they the same? Yes, no? They are both times 10 raised to 3. So, kopyahin mo lang yon. And then, ano gagawin mo sa coefficient part? You add them. So, that's 932, 2.3. Pag-add mo sila, cannot be. The joke lang. Mental. Tama ba? 9, 10, 11. Okay, so yan. 11.62 times 10 raised to 3. Question, is that the final answer? Is that the final answer? Ang sagot ay no. Hindi yan yung final answer. Why? Anyone? Bakit kaya hindi yan yung final answer? You can use your mic, ha? Pwedeng interactive tayo para may kausap ako. 11 po coefficient.
Greater than
Greater than? Ayun.
10.
Ayun, so ayan, very good, no? Lagpas kasi siya sa 10. Okay, so ang gagawin ko, urong mo yung decimal point ulit, no? So move your decimal point saan? To the left, to the right, to the left. Okay, so move mo yan doon. So that will be 1.162 times 10 raised to, ano nangyari? Since I moved my decimal point to the left, that means my exponent, no, magpa plus 1 ako doon. So, magiging 4 na yan. Okay? Easy. No? Easy. Tapos pagdating ng quiz bulaga, ganun talaga. Okay, so yan. Don't worry, gag-guide ko kayo paano ako magpa-quiz. No? So, ganun lang ha. Let's have some other examples pa. Ito. I have 3.42 times 10 raised to 2. Ay. Baka lang. Nanguhula lang ako ng number eh. Wait lang ha. So I'll have 3.42 times 10 raised to 5 plus 3.21 times 10 raised to 4. Ayan. Ano sabi ko? First thing you have to see if addition yan or subtraction is parehas ba sila ng exponent? Do they have the same exponent? Hindi. Ano gagawin? Sabi ko kanina, may isang mag-a-adjust. Okay. Sino yung mag-a-adjust, sir? Kayo bahala kung sino gusto nyo baguhin. Okay? So, pwede yung itong 5 na to, na exponent, gawin mo yung 4. How? Move your decimal point to the right. Kasi sabi natin, di ba? If you move your decimal point to the right, minus 1 sa exponent. So, pag ito ginawa kong 34.2, magiging minus 1 yan sa exponent. So, magiging 4 na lang yan. Pwede rin naman itong 4, gawin kong 5 para parehas sila. Okay? So, I will move my decimal point to the left, plus 1 yan sa exponent. So, sino sir mas tama? Parehas lang tama. Okay? So, pero for the sake of this class, parehas ko siyang gagawin. Okay? Para makita nyo. Yung subtraction, hindi ko na gagawin ha. Puro addition lang. Kasi same lang ng concept na. Apply nyo na lang. Gagawin din naman uli natin to next meeting. Okay, so kunwari, gusto ko same na 5 yung exponent. Dito, same na 4. Okay? So, kapag same na 5 na exponent yan, kopyahin ko yung isa. So, saan gagawin ko dito sa times 10 raised to 4? Sabi natin, if I move my decimal point to the left, plus 1 sa exponent. So, this will be 0.321 times 10 raised to 5 na. Okay? And then, pag-add ko yan, since they have the same exponent na, kopyahin mo na lang. Then, ipag-add mo yung coefficients. Okay? And then, do the mental math. Sige. 3, 7, 4, 1 times 10 raised to 5. Okay? So, we ended up with this answer. Okay? So, yan yung process if gusto ko ang exponent ay parehas na 5. Okay? Try naman natin kapag 4. Okay? So, yung second number, yung addends, kokopyahin ko lang. And kinopya ko na siya. Pero yung isang number, itong 5, gagawin ko yung 4. How? I will move my decimal point 1 place to the right. No? Moving your decimal point 1 place to the right will deduct 1 sa exponent mo. So pag inurong mo yan doon, minus 1 yun doon. So this will be 34.2 times 10 raised to 4. Ayan, parehas na silang times 10 raised to 4. What's next? Kopyahin mo yung same na exponent and then you add the two numbers. Okay? And then, pag-add mo sila, nag-isip pa ako, no? Parehas lang naman yan eh. Okay. Baka isipin nyo, hala sir, magkaiba sila ng sagot. No, that is not yet the final answer, no? Kasi again, I told you kanina, the coefficient part must be less than 10. This is 37. So, ang gagawin mo, move your decimal point to the left, plus 1 yun sa exponent, and then you will end up with the same answer. Okay? So, that's how we add and subtract numbers that are written in scientific notations. Okay tayo doon, no? So, ganun lang. So, ngayon, let's proceed with addition, multiplication and division. So, when multiplying and subtracting, ito easier to. Hindi mo na kailangan na parehas na exponent. Bakit? Kasi you will do the same operation sa exponent, no? So, kapag multiplication yan, ipag-a-add mo yung exponents mo. Pag division yan, you will subtract your exponents. Okay? So, ganun. And then you will do the same operation with your coefficients now. So let's have some few examples here. Ayan, maputi na yung screen natin. So let's have some few examples. 3 na lang. Favorite number ko yung 3. Yes. Lucky number ko yan eh. 3 ako pinanganak. Tapos, ano pa ba? Wala lang. Pangatlo ako sa family. So, 3.4 times 10 raised to 3 times, pag may nakita kayong dot na ganyan, times yan ha. Ayan. So, kunwari, ito. I have 3.4 times 10 raised to 3 times 2.1 times 10 raised to 1. Ano sabi ko? Kailangan pa ba parehas exponent? Hindi na. No? Hindi na necessary parehas exponent. Bakit? Kapag multiplication, i-add mo yan. Okay? So, you add your exponents. So, that will be 3 plus 1 for the exponent. And then, paano yung coefficient, sir? E di multiply mo rin. So, that's 3.4 times 2.1. Ito, kakalkyo ko na ito, ha? Suko na ako. Kalkyo na natin. 3.4 times 2.1. 7.14. Times 10 raised to 3 plus 1, edi 4. Okay? So, ganun. Ganun lang. Okay? So, ano uli ginawa? Pag multiplication, add the exponents. Add ha? Add. Okay? So, pag-add mo sila. Then, yung iyong coefficients, you multiply them. Kuha pa tayong isa pang example. Isip uli ako ng number. May 3 na naman. Ito. 4.73 times 10 raised to negative 3 times 3.21 times 10 raised to negative 6. Ano gagawin sa exponent? Ipag-add. Okay? So, you just add the exponent. So, that will be negative 3 plus negative 6. And then, you multiply your coefficients. So, that will be 473 times 3.21. Calcu na yan, no? Suko na tayo. So, this is 15.1833 times 10 raised to negative 6 plus negative 6, negative 9. Okay? Question, is this the final answer? Ang sagot ay no. Kasi this is greater than 10. 15 yan eh. So, you have to move your decimal point to the left, and that will increase our exponent by 1. So our final answer would be 1.51, excuse me, 518, ano yun? 1.51833 times 10 raised to negative 8. So, ganun. Okay, so hindi porket may nakuha na kayong sagot, yun na yung final answer, no? Be careful. Okay? Be careful lang. Paano po yung division? Let's do division naman. Division. So let's do this. 2.51 times 10 raised to negative 3 divided by 4.67 times 10 raised to negative 5. Kapag multiplication, you add the exponents. Pag division, you subtract the exponents. So, ganun yung gagawin natin. So, copy mo yung exponents, subtract mo sila. So, that is negative 3 minus negative 5. So, ganun. And then for your coefficients, that's 2.51 divided by 4.67. Calculate na natin yan. Ang daming numbers. Okay, so bawasan ko na lang. 0.5375. Okay na yan. Ang daming numbers sa calcu eh. Okay. So pwede na yan. Okay, so times 10 raised to, what will be the new exponent? Negative 3 minus negative 5. Ano yung sabi ng algebra teacher natin? Okay, so ano sabi? Kapag minus negative yan, yung minus pati negative, magiging multiplied to each other yan. So it will be positive 5. Okay, so that is, ano, that's negative 3 plus 5. No? Ayan, okay lang yan, Bianca. Okay, so ganun lang. So kapag may negative, minus negative, magiging positive yan. Okay, so that will be, ano yung magiging sagot natin? 2 na. Okay, sana paisip din ako. So 2. Okay, so is this the final answer? No. No, no, no. Bakit hindi yun yung final answer? Kasi this is less than 1. Okay, so if I want to make my coefficient above 1, so I have to move my decimal point to the right. Moving my decimal point to the right, ano mangyayari sa exponent? Minus 1. Okay, so minus 1. So my final answer is 5.375 times 10 raised to 1. Daming ganap, no? Yes. Sir, may shortcut ba dyan? Ito yung sagot, calcu. Pwede nyo gawin yan sa calcu. Pero, gaya nga ng sinasabi ko sa inyo, nasa ganda na yung alam niyo yung process. Madali na mag-solve sa calcu. Okay? Pero, mas maganda na yung alam mo kung ano yung nangyari. Okay? So, ganun kasi. Tayo yung gumawa sa calculator. So, kailangan mas matalino tayo kaysa sa kanya. Okay. So, ganun. Kasi kung hindi, magte-take over yan ng trabaho natin. No? Okay. Automation. So, yan. So, ganun lang kapag division. Okay. So, let's sum up. Addition. Ano yung ginagawa kapag addition? You copy. The exponents must be the same. Okay. So, if not, yung mag-a-adjust ka ng isa. And you do the operation sa inyong coefficient. You add or you subtract your coefficient and make sure that the final answer must be in the correct format. Pag multiplication, ano gagawin? You add the exponents, you multiply the coefficients, and your final answer must be written in the proper format. That means kung kailangan iurong decimal point, iurong nyo. For division, you subtract the exponents, no? And then you divide the coefficients. And again, the final answer must be written in the correct format. Okay? So, you have to move your decimal point parate if necessary. Okay? So, yun lang. Malapit na ba tayo matapos? Yes po. Ang daming nangyayari, no? Yes. Okay. So, don't worry. Ngayon lang naman yung isang bugso na isang bugsong lessons. So, ganun talaga tayo. Ganito yung mangyayari sa ating lecture, sa ating discussion sa lab. So, ibubuhos ko lahat ng kaalaman sa isang araw. Okay. Ilalagay ko sa inyo lahat ng info. And then, eventually, by next meeting, no, dun tayo magsasagot ng worksheet to strengthen our knowledge, no. So, yan. Para, syempre, mag-ano rin kayo, mag-aral-aral, no. Then, pagdating ng second meeting, dun tayo mag-focus na sa problem solving. Okay? Para pagdating ng quiz, ready na kayo. Okay? So, kung kaya nyo i-perfect nyo, ha? Okay. Ayan, medyo malapit na tayo. Chill lang tayo. Okay. Okay. Ako rin nakakaranas ng gutom, kaya alam ko yung nafe-feel niya. Okay? So, chill lang muna. Okay? So, kung gusto nyo pala kumain ngayon, go lang, no? Mute nyo lang yung mic nyo. Baka marinig namin kayo kumakain. Mainggit pa kami, no? Okay. So, let's proceed with significant figures, no? So, when you say significant figures, no, these are the meaningful digits in your measurement or your quantity or your calculated quantity, because not all digits are significant, no? Ibig sabihin, hindi lahat nagmamatter. Okay? So, meron lang certain digit na important or significant, no? So, how will we know if a number is significant or not, no? So, ito. So, these are the guidelines. Okay, rule number 1. Non-zero digits are always significant. Okay, so any number, basta hindi siya zero, significant yan. Okay, so for example, 4523 meters, 4 sig fig yun. Bakit? Sa 4 digits na yan, walang zero. So, significant yan. Okay, so that's rule number 1. Okay, rule number 2, pagbaliktarin ko lang. Ito yung last year pa hindi na ayos eh. The same lang din naman. Okay, so rule number 2, dito tayo sa ito. Ayan. So sabi diyan, zeros between non-zero digits are significant. Okay? So that means if may na-sandwich na zero between non-zero digits, considered na sila as significant. For example, 2.045. So yung zero sa gitna ng dalawang non-zero digits, no? Yung 2 and 4, since nasa gitna sila ng yung zero na to nasa gitna ng dalawang non-zero digits. So, ibig sabihin nun, significant yan. Kasama yan sa counting. Okay? So, ganun. Mamaya, magbibigay pa kayo iba pang examples. No? Number 3. No? Yung zeros at the beginning of a number are not significant. No? Kunwari, cellphone number nyo, 0915, ... Yung zero dun sa harap, insignificant yun. Kaya nga 'di ba pag pinindot niyo yun sa Calcu, sa Excel nawawala. Okay. So ganun, insignificant kasi siya. Siyempre walang kinalaman yung significant figures doon. Wala lang. Wala akong maisip eh. Okay, wala akong maisip na example. Okay, so again, yung zero sa harap ng non-zero digit, no, ay not significant. So for example, ito 0.0055. Itong 55 lang yung significant. Itong mga zero sa harap niya, hindi. Okay? Number 4, yung zero naman sa dulo ng number, as long as may decimal point, ay significant. Okay? For example, 3.00. So, itong dalawang zero na to sa dulo, sa right side, ay significant because of that decimal point. So, yun yung rule number 4. Paano naman po kapag walang decimal point? If there is no decimal point, the zeros, etong dalawang zero sa dulo ng ng zero digit, they may or may not be significant. Ibig sabihin, depende sa interpretation. So, ito yung tinatawag kong ambiguous. Ibig sabihin ng ambiguous, hindi mo sure. Okay, so hindi mo sure, maraming interpretation. Okay? So, in order to remove ambiguity, we use scientific notations, no? Okay, so instead of writing 400, you can write it as 4 times 10 raised to 2. Paano magbibilang po ng significant figure pag scientific notation? Tignan mo lang yan nasa harap. Okay? So yan. So yung 400, since ambiguous yan dahil walang tuldok, you can write it as scientific notation. So 4 times 10 raised to 2, since 4 lang yung number sa coefficient, 1 sig fig lang yan. 4.0 times 10 raised to 2, that is also 400, pero 2 sig fig yan. Okay, so this is 4.00 times 10 raised to 2. It has 3 significant figures because of the decimal point. And lastly, pwede mo naman to gawin. Yung 400, lagyan mo ng tuldok sa dulo. Okay, basta may decimal point, any zeros at the end of your non-zero digit ay significant na. Basta may tuldok. Okay? So, ano uli nangyari? So, sum up natin. Punta tayo dito sa clear part ng PowerPoint. Let's summarize the significant figures, yung mga rules. No? Ano yung unang batas? No? Huwag, ano, ano yung unang batas? Sabi niyan, all non-zero digits are significant. No? So, ibig sabihin, basta hindi zero, significant agad. No? Kunwari, ito, 9, 6, 3, loto lang, no? 2, 5, 2, 1. Ayan, ilang sigfig yan, hulaan nyo. Okay. Kung ilan yung non-zero digits diyan, yun yung significant figures niya. Bilangin natin. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So, I have 6 significant figures dito. Ay, 7 sabi ko pero 6 yung sinulat ko. Okay, so 7 sig fig yan. Kasi 7 yung non-zero digits. Yun yung rule number 1. Basta hindi zero, significant. Rule number 2, zeros between non-zero digits are significant. Ayan. I have this binary code. Hindi ko alam kung ano meaning niyan. Ayan, 1010010010101. So, sabi natin, yung zeros in between non-zero digits, they are significant. So, ibig sabihin, ito, ayun, pati ayun. Yung mga zeros na yon, significant yon. Why? They are in between ones, no? Nasa gitna sila ng mga 1. So, significant sila. Based on rule number 2. So, ilang sigfig to? Bilangin natin. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Okay, so 11 sigfig yan. Pag nakita nyo SF, ano yan na? Sigfig. Okay. So that's rule number 2. Zeros between non-zero digits are significant. Okay. Rule number 3. Pagsasamahin ko yung rule 3 and rule 4. Okay. Kunwari ito. Pagsasamahin ko yung rule 3 and rule 4. Okay, para mas makita natin yung bigger picture. Okay? May dalawang uri ng zero sa number na to. Okay, so there are 2 types of zeros in this number. Yung nasa harap, we call them leading zeros. Okay? So yung mga nasa harap, we call them leading zeros. Ibig sabihin, nasa harap ng first non-zero digit. Yung nasa dulo, we call them trailing zeros. Ano meaning ng trailing? Nasa dulo. Okay. Nasa dulo siya ng last non-zero digit, which is yung 1. Okay? So, since there are 2 types of zero, yung isa dyan, yung sinasabi sa rule number 3 na not significant. Ano yun? Leading zeros. Leading zeros are not significant. Okay, hindi sila significant. Okay? So, ano lang yung purpose nila sa buhay? So, their only purpose is to tell you where the decimal point is. Okay? Especially if that number is less than 1. Okay? So, yun lang yung purpose nila. If the number is less than 1, it will tell you nasaan ang decimal point. Okay? So, ganun. And then, we have the trailing zeros. No? So, the trailing zeros, they are significant. So, significant sila by convention. No explanation needed daw, sabi nila. Provided that, ito pala yung condition. Trailing zeros are significant provided that you have a decimal point in your number. Yung decimal point, it doesn't necessarily have to be here, no? Pwedeng andito yung decimal point or pwedeng nandito yung decimal point. Basta may decimal point, all trailing zeros are significant. Okay. Pag walang decimal point, ano mangyayari? Rule number 5, ambiguity. Pag walang tuldok yan, ambiguous. Pwedeng maraming interpretation. That's why we have to use scientific notation or just put a decimal point. Okay? So, yun yung summary ng rules natin. Again, all non-zero digits are significant. Next, zeros between non-zero digits are significant. Rule 3 and 4, pagsamahin natin. Leading zeros are not significant. Yun yung zero sa left side ng whole number, ng non-zero digit. Okay? So, yun yung leading zero. Hindi sila significant. Rule number 4, trailing zeros, they are significant only if your number has a decimal point. Pag wala, rule number 5 tayo. Ano sabi sa rule number 5? Ambiguous cases yung walang decimal point and may zero. So, you have to use scientific notation or you just put a decimal point. Okay? So, ganun lang. So, yun lang yung pinakakwento niyan. Kailangan nyo ba kabisaduhin yan? Familiarization lang. When I say familiarization, parang nagkabisado na rin kaya. Okay? So, ganun. Excuse me. Kapit lang kayo ha, malapit na tayo matapos. So, kapit lang. Alam ko marami ng lessons, no? Okay lang yan. Para by next meeting, ano na lang tayo? Ano na lang gagawin natin? Synthesis na lang. Check natin lahat ng mga natutunan. Okay? So, yan yung rules sa significant figures. Kailangan nyo ba yan makabisado? Somehow, yes, no? Okay, so kasi kailangan yun sa first quiz, okay? And then, kung may operations sa scientific notation, meron ding operations for significant figures na. Okay? So, turo natin. Nagagalit yung pusa ko. Uy, baba ka. Buntis kasi siya kaya nagagalit siya. Ayaw niya ata magklase tayo. Anyway, so kung may operations tayo sa sa tawag doon, wala tuloy ako. Kung may operation tayo sa scientific notation, may operations din tayo involving significant figures. Okay? So, ano yung mga operations involving significant figures? Ano lang yan? 4 lang din. Addition, subtraction, multiplication, division. Okay? So, pagsamahin natin uli yung addition and subtraction. Okay. When adding numbers, no, and you have to consider the significant figures, ito yung rule. No, addition na lang muna tayo, okay? So kapag addition and subtraction and you have to consider the significant figures, ito yung rule. Pag i-add mo sila, you check if your final answer is represented with the least decimal point, no, from the given. Okay? So ibig sabihin, ang gagawin natin is yung number mo, okay, yung dalawang addends mo or yung mga subtrahend mo, titignan mo kung sino yung may lowest decimal places. Decimal places usapan dito ha. Hindi okay. So decimal places. So kapag addition subtraction, you check your two numbers, okay? Tignan mo yung two numbers mo. For example, ito pati ito. Tignan mo kung sino yung may pinakaunting decimal places. When we say decimal places, yun yung numbers to the right ng decimal point. Ilang decimal place to? So ilang digits sa right side ng decimal point? Sa dalawa, tatlo. So this is 3 decimal places. 3 DP. Ito, ilang decimal places to? Isa lang. So 1 DP lang yan. Sabi doon sa rule for addition and subtraction, susundin mo yung may lowest decimal place. No? So that means your final answer must be rounded off to 1 decimal place. Kasi 1 decimal place yung lowest decimal place ko dito. Okay? So ipag-add mo muna siya as is and then you will round off your answer to 1 decimal place. So you will get 90.4. Ganon din sa subtraction ha. So for subtraction, ito naman yung gagawin natin. Tignan mo ilang decimal places to. Ito ay tatlo. Sa dalawa, tatlo. 3 decimal places. Ito, ilang decimal places? Ito ay dalawa. Ano susundin na decimal place according sa rule? Yung pinaka-onte, which is yung 2. Okay, so that means I will subtract them as is, and then my final answer will be rounded off to 2 decimal places, which will be 1.98. By the way, you have to round it up or round it down. Kapag yung number sa right side ng cutoff mo, PNR lang, no? So ito yung cutoff mo, no? So ito yung number sa right side niya. If that is 5 above, plus 1 ka dito. Pero kapag yan ay below 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0, re-retain mo lang yung number. So rounding up and rounding down. Alam nyo na yan. Alam pa tayo nun, no? So yan. So ganun po gagawin nyo. Again, for addition and subtraction, your final answer must be expressed in terms of the least decimal place. Kung sino yung may pinaka-onting decimal place, yun yung susundin. Okay tayo doon. Pag multiplication and division naman, in terms of significant figures naman. Okay? So kung sino yung may least significant figures, yun yung susundin. Let's have this for example. I have my multiplicand. Hindi ko alam kung tama yung pagkakaalala ko. Grade 4 pa ako huli kung narinig yung term na yan. So ito yung mga multiplicands ko. No? So that's 2.8 and 4 point something. Bilangin mo, ilang significant figure meron dyan? Ilan ba? Ito, 2 significant figures yan. Ito, ilang significant figure to? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 5 significant figure yan. So, my final answer should be expressed in 2 significant figures, no? So, that means, ito yung number ko. I'll start counting the sig fig from the left. 1, 2. Hinto na ako dyan. Any number sa right side, pwedeng i-round off na natin yun. Okay? So, since itong number na to, nakatabi ng cut-off natin, yung katabi ng 2, 6 yan, plus 1 yan. So, mag-round up ka dyan. So, magiging 13 na lang yung final answer dyan. Okay? So, ganun. Always, pag usapang sig-fig na, no? Pag multiplication, ano gagawin nyo? Yung least significant figures ang susundin. Pag addition, subtraction, yung least decimal place. Okay? Let's have this one sa baba, division. 6.85 divided by 11204. Ilan sig fig tong nasa taas? 685. So, 3 sig fig yan. Ilang sig fig nasa baba? Bilangin natin. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So, I have 5 sig figs here. Ano yung susundin ko? Edi yung 3. Okay? So I will start counting sig figs from the left. So ito ano to? Hindi siya significant kasi leading zero yan. So start ako dito sa dalawa, tatlo. Cut off. Okay? So itong 3, this is lower than 5. So that means my final answer is ito. Okay? So 0.0611. 3 sig fig according to the rule. Kasi 3 sig fig yung lowest sig fig sa numbers. Okay? So that's how you do operations involving significant figures. Ano yung mapapansin nyo dito? Sure, ang daming nangyayari. Gagawin ba natin yan until the end of the sem? Okay. Ito, to be honest with you, hanggang chapter lang na to, itong rules na to. Okay. Hindi ko na siya pinapa-apply sa later chapters ng subject na to. Bakit? Ang dami-dami ng rules sa chem. Okay. Baka malito na kayo. So, okay na yan. Hanggang chapter lang naman na ito yan. Okay? Mahalaga alam nyo siya. Pero later on, sa other topics natin, hindi na natin siya kakailanganin. Okay? So, sa ngayon, kabisaduhin nyo muna ito. Tapos kakalimutan nyo rin naman, no? So, ganun. So, yan. Kasi kapag imagine nyo, stoichiometry tayo, super daming numbers, tapos bigla akong sinabi, sig fig. Nako po, ang daming madadali, ang daming mamamali, no? So, I don't want that to happen. So, yan. Ang gusto lang naman natin is makuha yung concept and to apply them. Okay? So, hanggang dito lang muna itong sig fig na yan. Okay? Last one. Last na to. Conversions, no? Or the factor label method. Okay? So, kanina, sabi ko, when we are converting one unit to the other, kailangan may conversion equation tayo. Okay? Or may equivalence yung unit na yon to the other system of measurement. For example, you are going to convert feet to meters, inches to centimeter. May corresponding equivalence yon. And actually, you can Google that naman, no? Okay? So, how are we going to convert one unit to the other using conversion factors? Papasok na yung factor label method or the dimension analysis. Okay? How do we use the factor label method or the dimension analysis? You will begin with your given quantity. Okay, so you will start with your given quantity and then you will multiply it by the conversion factor. Ano ba yung mga conversion factor? Bigyan ko kayo example. 1 inch equals 2.54 cm. Okay? So yan ay conversion factor. It tells us kung ano yung equivalence ng inches sa centimeter. Okay? So yan yung conversion factor. Ang question dyan, paano ko po siya ilalagay sa equation? Okay. Suppose your given quantity is in centimeters. Kunwari, centimeter yung given quantity nyo. Tapos gusto mo siya gawing inches, yun yung desired quantity nyo. Ano gagawin mo sa conversion factor? Gagawin mo siyang fraction. You will convert this into a fraction. Sino yung nasa numerator? Sino yung nasa denominator? The unit to be placed in the denominator ay yung gusto mo i-cancel, yung given quantity. Kung ang given quantity mo ay cm, then yung 2.54 cm, yun yung nasa denominator. Ano purpose? Para mag-cancel. Okay. Tapos, yung natirang conversion, yung nasa taas. Okay? So, ganun. Mapapansin nyo, magka-cancel yung cm and then your desired quantity will be left. No? Yung inches na lang yung matitira. Okay? So, that's how you use the factor label method. No? So, you will treat your conversion factors such as this. No? You will treat them as you will treat them as fractions. No? And pwede mo i-flip yung fraction na yon in order to cancel the units. No? And then you will arrive with the final answer. Okay? So here are some few examples. I will give more next meeting. Last 3 slides na tayo. Okay, so for example, we have to convert 125 pounds to kilogram, and the conversion is 2.205 pound is equal to 1 kilogram. Paano yung solution dyan? You start with your given quantity. Ito yun. Then, you multiply it by the conversion factor. Again, ano gagawin mo dito? You will treat this as a fraction, wherein the denominator will bear or will have the given quantity or the given unit, no? In this case, yung pounds. Ayan, nasa baba yung pounds. And nasa taas yung desired quantity, yung gusto mong makuha after the conversion. So, pound yan, pound yun, magka-cancel sila. And then you will end up with the answer 56.7 kilograms. Okay? So, ganun. Alam ko alam nyo na to, pero I still have to reiterate, no, some of the pointers here. No? Bakit? Kasi, starting this point forward, puro conversion yung gagawin na natin. Okay? So, yan. Okay. And last example would be this one. Convert 1.844 gallons to ml. Okay, sometimes converting one unit to the other will involve the use of many conversion factors. Okay, so hindi lang isang conversion madalas, no? Minsan marami. So in such cases, you cancel unit one at a time. Okay, so yung units yung ika-cancel mo isa-isa. Okay, so for example, I have here gallon to liter and then liter to ml. So ano yung una kong gagamitin? Obviously, yung may gallon in order to cancel this gallon. Okay? So yan, nag-cancel na yung gallon. Then eventually, ika-cancel ko yung liter. So I will end up with ml. Okay? So ganun po, no? So every time na you have to do multiple conversions, i-cancel nyo muna kung ano yung given quantity. Okay? Baka kasi unahin nyo yung ito no? Wala kayong mga cancel dyan kapag ito yung inuna nyo. So unahin nyo muna ito. Okay? So kailangan logical yung sagot natin. Okay? So with that, no? Next meeting, we will answer more problems, no? Marami tayong questions na sasagutin. Okay, so for now, please recall the lessons na lang, no? Pero kumain muna kayo, magpahinga muna kayo tonight, no? Okay, so sa Friday na lang ulit tayo mag-work on with this lesson, no? So, and also discuss ko kung ano yung gagawin nyo sa pre-lab, excuse me, sa pre-lab assignment nyo. So anyway, yung pre-lab assignment naman na yon, ano lang yon, mini essay lang yan. Words lang about density ata, no? So bigyan ko na lang kayo ng heads up about that topic. Okay, so anyway, before we end, punta lang tayo sa accuracy and precision. Okay, so when doing measurements, pwede siyang accurate or precise. Ano yung difference? Pag sinabing accurate, your value are close to the true value. Your measurements are close to the true value. Pag sinabing precise, dikit-dikit. Okay, so, dikit-dikit yung measurement mo. It doesn't matter whether siya ay malapit sa true or malayo sa true. As long as dikit-dikit, precise. Pero, kapag dikit-dikit at malapit sa true value, accurate yon. Okay? Pero kapag ang inyong values ay magkakalayo, okay, so ibig sabihin, mali-mali yung measurement mo, hindi ka accurate nor precise. No? So, ibig sabihin, may mali sa ways ng measurement mo. Okay? So anyway, kwento lang naman yan, no? Ang focus natin is yung calculations. Okay? So with that, we're done for today. Ang tagal ng discussion natin, no? Yes po, 2 hours. No? And normal lang yan, no? Okay. So minsan, umaabot ako ng 2.5 hours sa discussion ko. There was a time na nag 3 hours ako sa discussion. Okay. Lang gusto ko talaga ikwento yung topics eh. Okay? So anyway, mahalaga sulit tuition nyo. And yun, next meeting, we will start working on with some exercises to further strengthen your knowledge sa topic na to. Okay? So for now, I want you to rest, no? Sulat nyo sa index card nyo yung equations na gagamitin natin for next meeting. Okay? So, stay safe and yun lang. So, a copy of the class recording will be uploaded on YouTube tomorrow. Okay? So, sa ngayon, ingat lang po muna kayo ha. Okay? So, the COVID variant from UK was found to be deadly according to Prime Minister Johnson. So, please be safe na. Okay? So, mag-ingat lang kayo. Okay? So, yan. Bye-bye and I'll see you again on Friday. Ingat always. Kain na po tayo ng dinner. Bye-bye.